Welcome to So You Really Want to Learn Latin, and today we are going to be looking at time and space. Well, actually, we're going to be looking at space and time. But, there we go. So we've got some nice little rules for you, and we're going to begin with one of my favourites, which is the rule about towns, small islands, domus and rus. Okay. Now, we're going to go straight into this. It's a quaint little rule, but one that it's nice to have under your belt. When translating from English into Latin, and you want to say that you are going to or from either a town, by which I mean the name of a town, like Rome or London, a small island, by which I mean the name of a small island, like the Isle of Wight, where I live, or Malta, for example. Domus, the noun domus, meaning home, or rus, which means the countryside. Okay, so if you are going either to or from any of those places, then you don't use the preposition that you would expect. In other words, ad plus the accusative for to, or ab or ex plus the ablative for from. Okay? So if you are, I am walking to Rome, ambulo Romam, not ad Romam. Okay? And if you are running from Rome, Roma Kuro. Okay, so in both of those examples, the noun Romam in the accusative or Roma in the ablative were used without a preposition. And that is because of this rule, towns, small islands, domus and rus, do not use prepositions. Okay, now you may ask what I mean by small islands. And very, very roughly the rule was anything smaller than Crete was considered a small island. Okay, so that's a nice little rule to have under your belt. And just one little extension to it. If, for whatever reason, a preposition is used with a town, small island, domus or rus, then you translate it slightly differently as if it meant to the neighbourhood of, or from the neighbourhood of. So if, for example, you were to see a sentence, ad Romam ambulat, that would mean he or she is walking to the neighbourhood of Rome, or towards Rome, okay, but not to Rome itself. Okay, nice little rule, one to slot away in your back pocket, and who knows, it might be useful at some stage in the future. Okay, so that's enough about space. We're now going to move on and have a little look at time. Okay, so we need to be able to translate expressions of time. Now, these crop up in book 2 of So You Really Want to Learn Latin. We are in chapter 3. And there's a nice little thing on this on page 28 about expressions of time. And we're going to begin with a little rhyme. Quite a sweet little rhyme. Expressions of time you may learn by this rhyme. Prepositions you never must use. Within which and when use the ablative case, but for time how long use the accusative. Okay? Not a great rhyme, but it does actually teach you the rule. So, rather similar to what we've just been discussing with regard to towns, small islands, domus and rus, where we didn't use a preposition. When we are translating expressions of time, in other words, how long did something last for? He ruled in Rome for 5 years, or he lived for 39 years. That sort of expression of time, we do not use a preposition, but we use either the accusative or the ablative, depending on which category it fits into. If it is time when did it happen? It happened in the second year. So that is when it happened. That would be the ablative case. Okay? No preposition, because expressions of time you may learn by this rhyme, prepositions you never must use. Okay, so if something happened in the second year, it would simply be translated as secundo anno. Okay, ablative case, second year, meaning when did it happen? It happened in the second year. Okay, whereas if it happened for 5 years, then it would be quinque annos, where annos is in the accusative case. So it's quinque actually, but quinque, as we learnt last lesson, numerals above the number 3 don't decline. But the expression quinque annos is in the accusative case because it's telling us how long something happened for. Okay, so that's a nice little extension. Every lesson I like to throw in another little bit that, you know, keeps you on your toes and keeps your Latin getting better and better. I'm just going to swap my bread. Okay, so using that new rule about town, small islands, domus and rus, if we just have a little bit of practice at that, we've got some sentences here in the book which are quite handy. So, number 1, domum ambulabat. Okay, nice and easy. Go to the verb first. Bambos bat, he was walking. And then you've got domum, he was walking home. In other words, to home, but no preposition. Okay, second one, Troia discesserant. Okay, go to the verb first. Third person plural, pluperfect tense. They had departed. And they had departed, Troia, from Troy. Okay, pretty easy stuff. We'll do a couple more. Romam festinabant. Okay, verb first. They were hurrying, festinabant. They were hurrying. Romam, to Rome. They were hurrying to Rome. And we'll do one more, little trick this one. None a creta navigavistis. Go to the verb first. Navigavistis. Second person plural. Perfect tense. You have sailed. Now this is a question introduced by none. So it's a question that expects the answer to be yes. You have sailed. And then we've got a creta. Well, town, small islands, domus and rus, do not use a preposition. But, as I said, the marker of a small island was deemed to be Crete. So Crete is a big island. So if you want to sail from Crete, you actually sail a Creta, which is what we've got here. Okay, nice little rule about town, small islands, domus and rus. It could catch you out if you didn't know it, because you'd see a word in the accusative case and not really understand why it was in the accusative. It's clearly not the object, but hasn't got a preposition, so what's going on? Nice little rule to have. And then if we did a little bit of practice at our rules on expressions of time, again, we've got some sentences in the book on page 29. So, for example, we might have multos annos Romani reges timebant. Okay, go to the verb first, timebant. They were fearing, they or a noun in the nominative plural. Okay, now if you come to the front of the sentence, we've got this expression multos annos. Now that's our time, how long, goes in the accusative. So, for many years, and then we've got Romani reges timebant. The Romans, that's your subject in the nominative plural, the Romans feared. Reges, that's the object in the accusative case, kings. So for many years, the Romans feared kings. We'll do another one. We've got primo anno Romulus urbem regebat. Okay, so the beginning, you've got this expression of time, primo anno, in the first year. Okay, it's in the ablative case because it's an expression of time when. When did it happen? It happened primo anno, in the first year. Okay, and then the rest of the sentence is nice and easy. Romulus urbem regebat. Romulus ruled the city. Then we've got another little sentence which is a bit bloodthirsty. Fratrem multis ante horis gladio interfecerat. Go to the verb first, interfecerat. He, she, or it had killed. He, she, it, or a noun in the nominative. Have a little look. There is no noun in the nominative. So, he had killed, fratrem, there's your object in the accusative. He had killed his brother. And then he had killed his brother, multis ante horis. Now, that is an expression of time in the ablative, and then ante is an adverb here. An adverb, not a preposition. It means before in the sense of, well, it happened before. Okay, and we'll do one more. We've got Milites Romani dormiebant sed media nocte anseres clama verunt. Two little clauses there. You've got Milites Romani dormiebant. Verb first, dormiebant. They were sleeping. They, or a noun in the nominative. And we've got Milites Romani. So, the Roman soldiers were sleeping. Said, media nocte. Right, now those words are in the ablative. So nocte is coming from nox, third declension noun, nox noctis, feminine, which means night. So nocte is the ablative of that word, and media is ablative feminine singular in agreement with nocte. So in the middle of the night, in the middle of the night. Notice how they say in the middle night, where in English we say in the middle of the night. So you don't have a genitive in Latin for that sort of expression. It's an expression of time in the ablative, media nocte. That's when it happened. Media nocte, in the middle of the night. Media nocte anseres clama verunt. The geese shouted. Okay. Now this is a reference to a little story which we will do later on about how the sacred geese saved Rome. And in fact, it's such a good story, I think we'll finish off with it now. Okay. It relates to the year 390 BC when the Gauls were attacking Rome. Now you may wonder why the Gauls are involved in this. Around about this time, the Gauls were beginning to the Gauls were beginning to stretch their elbows a bit and get a bit sort of aggressive. They beat up Lars Porsena of Clusium, and having sorted out him and his hairy Etruscans, they thought, right, time to come for Rome, and they attacked Rome. And while that was happening, the Romans sort of suffered this rather humiliating situation where they had to hide in the citadel on the top of the mountain, and, well, we'll find out what happened by translating this passage. Okay, so we'll have a little crack at this story now. Galli autem urbem intraverunt quod incolae eos timebant. Okay, normal rules. We've got two clauses here. We've got the first verb is intraverunt, so we can kind of go up to there. Galli autem urbem intraverunt. Nice, easy stuff, this. The Gauls entered the city. Okay, really no problem with that. Quod incolae eos timebant. Now, quod means because. So, because, and this is going to explain why the Gauls entered the city. Quod incolae eos timebant. Because the inhabitants feared them. Eos, accusative, masculine plural of our friend is id, so it means them. Is id, when used in agreement with a noun, means that, and when it is on its own, as here, it means he, she, it, or them. Okay. Feminae et juvenes in montem Capitolium ascenderant, sed senes in foro sedebant. Okay, we're going to go to our first verb first, ascenderant, third person plural, they, or a noun in the nominative plural. Back to the beginning we trundle and we find feminae et juvenes. Okay, the women and the young men, what had they done? Ascenderant, they had climbed or gone up, they had climbed in montem Capitolium onto the Capitoline mountain. In plus accusative, remember, means into or onto. So they had climbed onto the Capitoline mountain, sed senes in foro sedebant. But senes, the old men, that's from senex, but the old men, sedebant, were sitting in foro, in the forum. Okay, just a little thing to notice there on the pronunciation. A vowel followed by ns or nf is always lengthened. So although the word for in is in, when it's followed by a noun beginning with an f or an s, it kind of lengthens it. So we get in foro. Okay, on we go. Galli in forum ambulaverunt et diu eos spectabant. First verb first, ambulaverunt, they walked. So Galli, the Gauls, walked in forum, into the forum, et diu eos spectabant, and diu, for a long time, spectabant, they were watching, eos, them. Okay, so the Gauls walked into the forum and for a long time watched them. In other words, the old men. Senes Romani nihil faciebant. Okay, verb first, faciebant, they, or a noun in the nominative plural, we've got senes Romani. So, the Roman old men, or the old Roman men, nihil faciebant, were doing nihil, nothing. Tandem Gallus senem Romanum tetigit et is iratus erat. Tandem, at last. Verb first verb first, tetigit. Now, tetigit comes from tango, tango, tangere, tetigi tactum, which means I touch. So, at last, he, she, or it touched. Now, is there a noun in the nominative? We've got Gallus. Okay, perfect, nominative singular. So, at last, a Gaul touched senem Romanum, a Roman old man, et is iratus erat. And is, that's from is id. So, when used in agreement with a noun, it means that. When used on its own, it means he, she, it. So, and he is iratus erat, was angry. Inde Gallus eum interfecit, et amici eos omnes Romanos interfecerunt. Okay, inde, then. Gallus, now I'm being a little bit lazy by just grabbing the nominative singular when I see it. You know, I'm kind of practiced at this. But obviously what my eye is doing, it's flipping down the track to get to the verb, just to check. and our verb is interfecit, third person singular, subject must be he, she, it, or a noun in the nominative singular. But we're kind of getting quite good at this now, and we're spotting the nominative singular, and with one eye we're seeing the interfecit, and so we're confident to say, then the Gaul killed. Now, who did he kill? We've got eum from isea id, so then the Gaul killed him. Et amici eius omnes Romanos interfecerunt. And now, go to the verb, the next verb, and it's interfecerunt. Okay, they, or a noun in the nominative plural. Back we come, and we've got amici. So that could mean the friends, nominative plural, and the friends. In fact, it does mean that. Then we've got eius. Now, do you remember eius? It means of him, or of her, or of it. And it's a really easy way of translating his. So, et amici eius, and his friends, interfecerunt, killed, omnes Romanos, all the Romans. Okay. Milites autem non invenerunt, quod ei in monte cum feminis manebant. Okay. First verb first, invenerunt, they, or a noun in the nominative plural. Right, now here you have got to be a little bit careful. So we go to invenerunt. Verb is third person plural. They found. The subject is a noun in the nominative plural, if there is one. Back we come and we find milites. Very easy to just, we're getting a bit cocky here and say the soldiers found. But the trouble is, whom did they find? You kind of, they found, and then there's nothing for them to have found. So actually it doesn't mean the soldiers did not find. It means they did not find the soldiers. So milites is accusative plural. Okay, so this, we knew this was going to happen when we first learned the third declension and we discovered Rex was a bit of a pig. Just occasionally, it is really sort of difficult not to trip up. And there, I was being a bit cocky there. I just raced in and said, the soldiers, however, did not find. And then I thought, well, who did they not find? Doesn't mean that. They did not find the soldiers, however. Quod, because ei in monte cum feminis manebant. Because ei, they, manebant, were remaining in monte, on the mountain, cum feminis, with the women. It's tempting to rush this and just think, yeah, I can do that, that's a subject, but you've just got to be a little bit careful. And if you begin to get wobbly, go back to your golden rules. Look at the verb. Find out which person and number it is. Is there a noun in the nominative to agree with that verb? All of these rules which we learnt, back in book 1, they work again and again and again. You mustn't lose sight of them. Okay, next paragraph. Deu Romani in monte manebant. For a long time, Deu, Romani in monte manebant. The Romans remained on the mountain. Okay, so, I was a bit lazy there. I didn't say go to the verb first. But I was eyeballing Romani on the left of my page and manebant on the right of my page, and knowing that manebant was a third person plural requiring a subject to either be they or a noun in the nominative plural. So the Romans remained, made sense, in monte, on the mountain. Tandem Galli montem ascenderunt. Okay, same really. Tandem, at last, and then I'm going straight in. Galli ascenderunt. The Gauls climbed. And I'm not, I kind of should be, but I'm not saying go to the verb first. Verb is third person plural, subject must be they or a noun in the nominative plural. Is there a nominative plural? Yes, there is. I'm speeding that process up. I'm speeding the process up, but I'm not rejecting the process. The process is still happening. It's just I'm kind of doing it quicker. Okay? Right. So, at last the Gauls climbed the mountain. Milites Romani eos non audiverunt. Okay? Now, milites, we nearly fell down a heffalump trap with that earlier. So, it's either nominative or accusative plural, and we're sort of, we don't want to make a fool of ourselves at this stage. So we'll just eyeball the verb. We've got audiverunt, they did not hear. And we've got milites Romani. So that, that it could be the Roman soldiers did not hear, or it could be the Romans did not hear the soldiers. We're not quite sure until we look at the rest of the sentence and we see we've got eos. Now, eos, accusative plural, not agreeing with a noun, so it's meaning them, and it's very much looking like it is the object. So that makes us relax a bit, and we know that we've got the Roman soldiers as our subject, non audiverunt, did not hear, back to the object, eos, them. Okay. Sed, ansere sacri gallos audiverunt et clamaverunt. Anser is the Latin for goose. Here we've got it in the plural, anseres. Now that could be nominative or accusative, but ansere sacri, nominative plural. So, but the sacred geese, verb, audiverunt, heard, gallos, there's our object, the Gauls, et clamaverunt, and they shouted, i.e. the geese shouted, squawked. Don't know the Latin for to squawk, but we've got the Latin for to shout. Milites surruxerunt, et hostes de monte pepolerunt. Okay. Two clauses, surruxerunt, there's a third person plural, subject is they, or a noun in the nominative. Now, surruxerunt is coming from surrigo, to rise up. So, milites surruxerunt, the soldiers rose up, et hostes de monte pepolerunt, and now you've got to be careful here because hostes looks like a nominative plural, a bit like milites was. But if you go to the verb, you see pepolerunt. Now that's from pello, to drive. Pello, pelleri, pepoli, pulsum. So they drove, hostes, the enemy, that's in the accusative case, and they drove the enemy, de monte, down from the mountain. Okay, great little story, fun story about some sacred geese saving the Romans from the Gauls, but lots and lots of stuff going on in there for, not tripping over third declension plural endings, ace, like hostes and milites. You've really got to be a bit careful. Are they the subject or are they the object? We had some ids, some eoses, and some eis, and things like that to handle. And all in all, it's a great story. Okay, so that's enough for one lesson. We've done a lot this lesson. We've done time and space. So we've learnt how to use expressions of time. Time how long goes in the accusative case. Time within which or when goes in the ablative case. We've learnt that if you're going towards something, motion towards, we're expecting the accusative case, but we don't use a preposition if it's a town, a small island, domus or rus. And again, if we're coming away from somewhere, we're expecting the ablative, but we don't use that preposition if it's a town, a small island, domus or rus. Okay, Lots and lots to get sorted there. Next time we are going to be taking a giant step by embarking on the passive voice. Okay? Blimey. If that's not enough to, keep you awake at night, I don't know what is. See you next time for the passive voice.